If you thought this story was already messy, think again. Because just when everyone thought the pregnancy rumor had peaked, Blueface did the one thing people never do unless they're scared. He backtracked, in the middle of the night, with one tweet. And the internet caught it in real time. This is Hood Files, where secrets explode before your eyes. The internet couldn't believe it, and you won't either. 1 minute, Blueface is loud, confident, reckless, claiming Nevaeh Akira is pregnant by poo surety. The next minute, a late-night tweet pops up, words suddenly softer, meaning suddenly blurred, like someone realizing they said too much and now there's no way back. Blogs refresh. Group chats light up. Fans rewind old clips frame by frame. Because when someone changes their story, it's never random. It's fear. It's pressure. It's damage control. So ask yourself this and really focus on it. If you were in this position, same fame, same betrayal, same threat, what would you do? Stay quiet, double down, or panic and erase the truth one tweet at a time? People online are already saying it. Bro said too much and they got him. And trust me, as we break this all down, it doesn't calm down. It gets uglier. The story didn't start with a tweet. It never does. It started weeks earlier, quietly, in the background, with whispers that move faster than facts and screenshots that travel faster than truth. Blueface has never been a stranger to chaos, but this time the chaos felt different. This time it wasn't loud club drama or a messy live stream argument. It was subtle, tense, the kind of silence that shows up right before something explodes. People forget how Blueface built his image. Loud confidence, unfiltered opinions, saying things most people would walk back, then refusing to walk anything back at all. That reputation followed him everywhere. So when rumors started circulating that Nevaeh Akira might be pregnant, the internet didn't ask if it was true. They asked when Blueface would say something reckless about it, because history says he always does. At first, there were only small signs. Fans noticed Blueface liking strange posts at odd hours. A few cryptic captions appeared, then disappeared. Screenshots started circulating of alleged DMs where someone close to Nevaeh was asking questions nobody asks unless there's already smoke. The blogs didn't post yet. They waited, because the biggest stories don't come from leaks. They come from reactions. Behind the scenes, the tension was already building. According to people claiming to be in Blueface inner circle, conversations were getting heated. Phones were ringing late. Trust was thin. Everyone wanted to know the same thing, but nobody wanted to be the one to ask it directly, because asking makes it real. Nevaeh, on the other hand, went quiet. No denials, no clarifications, just silence. And in internet culture, silence is never neutral. Silence is interpreted, twisted, weaponized. Fans began dissecting old photos, old videos, even old facial expressions. Look at the glow, they said. Look at the timing. Suddenly, every post from the past 6 months became evidence. Blueface felt that shift. You could see it in the way his tone changed online. Less joking, more edge, more defensiveness. The man who once thrived in chaos now seemed irritated by it, because this rumor didn't just touch his reputation. It touched his control. And control is something he's always protected fiercely. Then came the name that changed everything. Pooh Surety. Once that name entered conversation, the story stopped being messy and started being dangerous. Fans didn't just gossip anymore. They took sides. They accused. They speculated about loyalty, respect, and lines that should never be crossed. The triangle was set, and the internet loves triangles because there's always a villain no matter how the story ends. What made it worse was the timing. Pooh Surety's name was already heavy online, so attaching him to a pregnancy rumor didn't feel random. It felt strategic, or reckless, depending on who you asked. Some fans believed Blueface was exposing something real. Others believed he was spiraling, throwing names out to regain control of a narrative he felt slipping away. Fake DMs began to surface, messages claiming to show panic, others claiming to show confidence, screenshots with cropped timestamps, audio clips with no sources, the usual formula. And yet, despite how fake some it looked, people believed it, because belief online has never required proof, only repetition. Blueface watched all of this unfold in real time, and for the first time, the audience noticed something strange. He didn't immediately respond. No live rant, no laughing dismissal, no trolling, just quiet. Hours passed, then days. Every minute of silence added weight. Fans started saying things like, "He's thinking." Others said, "He's being told what to do." When he finally spoke, it wasn't in a full explanation. It was fragments, half-statements, comments that raised more questions than answers. And each time he said something, the reaction was louder than the statement itself, because people weren't listening anymore. They were hunting for contradictions. Inside the storm, Nevaeh remained silent. No interviews, no emotional posts, nothing. And that silence drove the internet wild. Was it guilt? Was it strategy? Or was it fear of making things worse? Every theory existed at once. None of them confirmed. All of them believed. What made the situation unbearable was how personal it felt to the audience. Pregnancy rumors aren't just gossip. They come with moral weight, responsibility, consequences. Fans weren't just entertained. They were angry, protective, judgmental. Everyone projected their own experiences onto the story. Betrayal, embarrassment, control. Blueface knew that once this crossed into pregnancy territory, there was no clean exit. Words mattered now. Timing mattered now. And any mistake would live forever online. That pressure builds differently. It doesn't scream. It tightens. Then came the night everything shifted. Late, quiet, a moment when most people think the internet isn't watching. That's when Blueface posted. Not a rant, not a breakdown, just a tweet. Short, careful, almost offensive. And within seconds, screenshots spread everywhere because people could feel it instantly. This wasn't confidence. This was damage control. And as fans began comparing that tweet to his earlier statements, the contradictions became impossible to ignore. Words didn't line up. Meanings shifted. The tone felt scared. And just like that, the story stopped being about a rumor and became about a lie. But what came next, even his enemies didn't expect. Within minutes of that late-night tweet going live, the internet flipped the switch from speculation to investigation. Not curiosity, cross-examination. People weren't asking what Blueface meant anymore. They were asking why he needed to say anything at all. Screenshots of his earlier comments resurfaced. Clips from lives people barely remember were pulled, slowed down, replayed, captioned, and stitched together like evidence in a trial that never sleeps. The tone online shifted fast. Blogs that had stayed neutral suddenly leaned in. Headlines didn't say rumor anymore. They said backtrack. Fans didn't say maybe. They said caught. And the tweet, short, vague, carefully worded, became the centerpiece of everything, because it read like someone realizing too late that words have consequences. People started lining up the language. What he said before, what he said now, what he didn't say at all. The gaps mattered more than the statements. And once people noticed those gaps, they couldn't unsee them. Every pause felt intentional. Every clarification felt rehearsed. It didn't help that the tweet dropped at a time when most people only speak publicly if they're stressed, angry, or being told to clean something up. Then came the sources. Anonymous accounts claiming insider access began posting threads. One said there had been a phone call earlier that night. Another claimed lawyers were mentioned. Another said someone close to the situation advised him to reword everything before things went too far. None of it was verified. All of it spread anyway. Because the internet doesn't wait for confirmation when the narrative already feels right. And the reactions weren't just online. According to alleged leaks, people in Blueface's circle weren't happy. Some felt he had crossed a line by naming names in the first place. Others felt he'd made it worse by walking it back. Because nothing looks more suspicious than confidence turning into caution overnight. That's when people start asking who called you and what they said. Meanwhile, Nevaeh's silence started to feel louder than ever. No denial, no emotional response, no clear the air moment. Just nothing. Fans split into camps. One side said her silence meant the rumor was real. The other said she was protecting herself from being dragged deeper into someone else's mess. Either way, the absence of her voice allowed everyone else to speak for her, and they did, aggressively. Comment sections turned into war zones. People accused Blueface of deflection, of manipulation, of using pregnancy as leverage in a power struggle. Others accused Nevaeh of playing the long game, letting him self-destruct while she stayed clean. Every take contradicted the last, but they all shared one assumption. Someone wasn't telling the full truth. Then the name that had already made things volatile came roaring back into the spotlight. Pooh's Surety started trending, not because he said anything, but because he didn't. No statement, no reaction, no acknowledgement. That silence created a vacuum, and the internet filled it with theories. Some said his team told him to stay quiet. Others said the accusation was so ridiculous it didn't deserve a response. Either way, his name being attached had all raised the stakes beyond gossip. Fake investigative posts started circulating. Claims of leaked messages that showed panic. Alleged voice notes that sounded rehearsed. One post even claimed there was a private agreement to keep certain details offline. Again, no proof, but the volume was overwhelming. And volume creates belief, especially when people already think they've caught someone slipping. The sarcasm online was brutal, because nothing screams honesty like clarifying at 2 a.m. Memes exploded. Side-by-side comparisons of old quotes and new tweets flooded timelines. Even people who didn't care about the story started engaging, because contradiction is universal. Everyone recognizes it. Everyone reacts to it. What made it worse was how the narrative flipped. Initially, Blueface looked like the one exposing the situation. Now, he looked like the one exposed by his own words. The power dynamic changed. The man known for saying whatever he wanted suddenly sounded careful. And careful doesn't sell confidence. It sells fear. Behind the scenes, alleged conversations painted an even messier picture. Posts claimed he was frustrated by how quickly things spiraled, that he didn't expect the pregnancy angle to stick the way it did, that mentioning another name turned a personal dispute into a public spectacle he couldn't control. Whether true or not, the story fit the behavior people were watching in real time. Nevaeh's name became a headline without her consent. Her body became a topic without her voice. And that reality added another layer of anger to the discourse. Fans began saying the real issue wasn't the rumor, it was the recklessness. The idea that someone could throw out something so serious, then try to soften it once the backlash hit. By now, the blogs were no longer reporting. They were narrating. Sources say, fans believe, internet reacts. Each article fed the next wave. Each wave demanded another response. But the more people demanded clarity, the more obvious it became that clarity wasn't coming. Then, just when it felt like the story might cool down, another alleged screenshot surfaced. A message claiming to show regret. Another claiming to show frustration. Another claiming to show someone asking, "Can you fix this?" Whether real or fake, the timing was perfect because it aligned with the narrative already forming. Panic, backtracking, and control slipping away. At this point, it wasn't about whether the pregnancy rumor was true. That question had almost become irrelevant. The real scandal was how fast the story changed once pressure appeared. People weren't debating facts anymore. They were debating character. And that's when the shift happened. The tone turned darker. Less jokes, more suspicion. Fans started asking what else had been exaggerated in the past. What other statements had been walked back quietly. When someone is seen adjusting the truth once, people assume they've done it before. Blueface's tweet, meant to slow the fire, ended up pouring fuel on it. Because nothing triggers the internet like the sense that someone is rewriting history in real time. The timeline doesn't forget, and the receipts don't disappear. Just when it seemed like the story had reached its peak, when everyone thought the damage was done, another detail surfaced. A small one, easy to miss, but powerful enough to change everything. Because just when we thought it was over, another name came up. Because just when we thought it was over, another name came up. And that's when the story stopped feeling like internet drama and started feeling personal. The name didn't come from a tweet. It didn't come from a blog. It came from a whisper. passed around in comment sections, hinted at in vague posts, and repeated just enough times to stick. Someone close. Someone who had seen the situation unfold before the internet ever caught wind of it. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't just about a rumor or a backtrack. It was about pressure, who was applying it, why it was applied, and what was being protected. People began to suggest that the late-night tweet wasn't written out of regret, but out of fear. Fear of legal consequences. Fear of reputational damage. Fear of crossing a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Blueface's online presence shifted again. Fewer posts. Shorter captions. A visible restraint that didn't match the man audiences thought they knew. The confidence was still there, but it felt forced, like someone trying to stand tall while bracing for impact. Fans noticed. They always do. And when they notice, they don't stay quiet. Meanwhile, Nevaeh's silence evolved from suspicious to strategic. Some fans began to see it as strength. Others saw it as avoidance. But either way, the narrative around her changed. She was no longer just a name in someone else's story. She became the center of it. Every detail of her life, real or imagined, was dissected, and the more she refused to engage, the more powerful her absence became. There were moments when it looked like Blueface might explode again. Small hints, subtle jabs, posts that felt like they were written, deleted, then rewritten 10 times. But the explosion never came. And that absence of chaos unsettled people more than chaos ever could. Because restraint, in someone known for recklessness, looks like preparation. The internet began speculating about closed-door conversations. Calls that didn't make it to social media. Warnings disguised as advice. Lines drawn quietly to prevent louder consequences. Suddenly, people weren't asking what happened. They were asking what almost happened. At the same time, the backlash intensified. Fans accused Blueface of weaponizing sensitive topics, of throwing out claims without thinking about the fallout. Others accused him of being manipulated, pushed into saying things, then forced to clean them up when the damage spread beyond control. Victim or villain, the internet couldn't decide, so it argued both sides at once. The mental toll became part of the story. People began pointing out how often public figures spiral when narratives escape their control, how the pressure of millions watching, judging, and replaying your words can break even the loudest personalities. Clips resurfaced of past moments where Blueface had brushed off controversy. This time, the contrast was obvious. The brush-off never came. Nevaeh, still silent, became an emotional mirror for the audience. Some saw her as someone protecting her peace. Others saw her as someone waiting, letting time expose what words could not. And in that waiting, the power balance shifted again. Silence stopped looking passive. It started looking intentional. As days passed, the story didn't fade. It hardened. People stopped joking and started remembering. Old patterns, old statements, old situations where truth seemed flexible. And once that door opens, it never closes. Because reputation isn't built on one moment. It's built on consistency. And inconsistency is loud. There were rumors of legal consultations. Rumors of people advising everyone involved to stop talking. Rumors of consequences no one wanted to face publicly. Whether true or not, the rumors fit the mood. Serious, heavy, final. The kind of atmosphere where jokes don't land and sarcasm feels hollow. For Blueface, the fallout wasn't just public. It was psychological. Fans noticed the fatigue, the irritation, the posts that felt less like performance and more like defense. It's one thing to thrive in chaos. It's another to realize chaos can turn on you. And when it does, it doesn't ask permission. For Nevaeh, the aftermath was quieter but no less intense. Her name remained in headlines, but her voice never entered the conversation. And that absence forced everyone else to fill in the blanks. Sometimes with empathy, sometimes with cruelty, but always with attention. And attention is a currency you can't control once it's spent. As for the name that sparked the storm, the lack of response became the final statement. No denial, no acknowledgement, just distance. And in the world of public scandals, distance speaks volumes. It suggests confidence or complete dismissal. Either way, it left Blueface standing alone with the narrative he helped ignite. By the end, the question wasn't did he lie? It was, why did the story change when it did? And that question lingers longer than any rumor, because stories don't shift unless something forces them to. The internet moved on, as it always does, but not before leaving marks. Screenshots saved, clips archived, opinions hardened. This story didn't end with clarity. It ended with tension, with unanswered questions, with people choosing sides without knowing the full truth. And in the final moments, as timelines refreshed and comments slowed, one thing became painfully clear. Some scandals fade because they're resolved. Others fade because everyone is too exhausted to keep digging. This one faded because the loudest voice went quiet and the silence said everything. She vanished without a trace. But the secret stayed. And now it's on you. Because stories like this don't end when the video cuts off. They end in the comments, in the debates, in the theories people can't stop replaying in their heads. What you just watched wasn't just about a late-night tweet or a rumor that spiraled out of control. It was about power, control, and what happens when someone realizes too late that the internet never forgets. So ask yourself this one last time. Did he panic because he lied? Or did he panic because the truth slipped out at the wrong moment? That question is why this story refuses to die. That's why screenshots still circulate. That's why silence feels louder than any explanation ever could. Some people believe the backtrack was innocent. Others believe it was fear. Some think this was damage control. Others think it was the first crack in a much bigger secret. And that split right there, that's where the real story lives. Now we want to hear from you. Do you think Blueface was telling the truth at first, or rewriting it later? Was the silence strategic or forced? And why did everything change the moment the pressure showed up? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because the most convincing theories don't come from headlines. They come from people paying attention. And trust us, we read everything. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button right now, because this story is far from over. New angles, new reactions, and new twists are already brewing behind the scenes. Like the video if you felt the tension. Share it if you think someone else misses signs. And stay locked with files, because when the internet goes quiet, that's usually when the real secrets surface.